Joining me from their home in Sacramento, California, Vince and his wife, Kira. Thank you so much for joining me. Vince, okay, let's start with this diagnosis because it actually had nothing to do with fighting, nothing to do with the training. This was a rare condition.
Yeah, so this was something that I was most likely born with. It's a condition where the arteries in my brain or the artery in my brain start to close. So there's a lot of confusion. A lot of people think there's something stuck in there and they can just go in there and remove it. The disease works by the walls just growing, kind of like a really narrow hallway, and they until they touch, and then over time they just grow more and more closed, and it just got to the point where by the time they found it was 100% occluded. It was just completely shut, and I was just probably hanging on by a thread.
And I mean, for people to understand this, I was told that you were informed even sleeping the wrong way could cost you your life.
If I were to lose blood flow to that side of my head, there would have been there was already no pathway of blood to restore it. So if I would have lost direct blood flow to my head, there would have been some consequences to that, meaning that there would have been no way to restore blood flow, either a major stroke or if I survived that, then I'd have to deal with the consequences of having that.
Kira, the surprise wedding was just beautiful, but to know that this was his way of showing love in case he didn't make it. I mean, we go in for better or for worse. You were already looking at the worst possibility of not having him. What? I can't even imagine what that's like. Its own adversity.
Yeah, my hands are sweating thinking about it right now. Yeah, it was very shocking and not what I expected once I found the love of my life. I was not expecting to face this.
When did you know that you'd be able to go back in the ring?
Even before I went in, I just had a desire to continue to always compete. I had fought, what felt like a lifetime for that opportunity, and I felt like fighting saved my life to get me to that point. It allowed me to get that brain scan. That's how they found it, was in a routine medical checkup. So I felt like I owe it to myself to kind of fulfill that dream. And so I kept it at the forefront of all my goals. And even heading into surgery, I just never gave up on my ability to want to come back. And I just made sure.
But I don't like to bring up the word fear because it can keep us from doing anything in life. But I have to tell you, if I had a choice of fighting Conor McGregor in a boxing match or an MMA, I would take him in boxing because MMA is no joke. I mean, the head kicks. How did you find the ability to say, I'm not going to worry about the kicks to the head. I am healed. I am okay. I am strong enough to do this mentally and physically?
I've just always had a very strong belief in my ability to compete. I never felt like, even early on in my career, that I took too many really big hits, and I just always felt confident. And I don't know, it's something. I grew up competing. A lot of the stories that you shared early really inspired me because football was kind of one of those sports that kind of led me to this sport. Obviously, I quit growing, so I. This sport, but it's just my drive to compete. I couldn't imagine a life without it, and if they couldn't prove that I wasn't fit to compete, it was something I was always going to strive for. And if you look at early my interviews, I always kind of stated that I was going to come back. I just didn't know how.
Do you believe you manifested? I mean, because it's interesting. I look at the physical nature of it, but it's mental strength. But it was your head, your brain, that was the part of you that was weakened.
Yeah, that's such a unique, way to put it, I guess, manifesting, which is where you talk something into existence in a way. And yeah, part of me does kind of believe that. But every step that I took, I couldn't just say it. I had to make all the efforts and stuff necessary. I had to make sure that my recovery was, unheard of. And I had to just put in a lot of groundwork as well on top of believing in myself. But they both go hand in hand.
Kira, were you surprised at all that he made it back?
Yes, and I was a bit scared for him to get back in there with that injury and everything and recovery. just thinking about him being hit in that area,
It's all
Well,
good.
listen, I'm with you. Well, he did it, and you know what? I love it. I love it. Congratulations on your return. So happy for you. You've inspired us.